Anything that you heard or saw that would particularly change investment thesis given the speech?
Hey, good morning, Brian. No, not necessarily. I mean, the big question in my mind is, what would entice Main Street investors to get off the sidelines? If you look at the cadence of our environment over the last 2 months, Main Street has been really reducing their exposure to equities. It started with the correction in October. It passed through in the tax loss selling and correction in December. But the most interesting thing is, despite the strongest January we've seen in quite a while, Main Street continues to reduce their exposure. And so the market has been left in relatively sort of a low volume environment driven by a lot of quant, a lot of program trading. And so to your point is, did we hear anything last night that would necessarily move those Main Street investors off the sidelines? Because again, there's still a lot of money on the sidelines that could rotate into equities. And I think if they were to do so, you could materially move the markets for a long time. In my opinion, there wasn't really anything necessarily. We'll have to see in the coming weeks if anything, any of his issues, anything on his agenda comes to fruition or materializes, that may change things a little bit. And then the other thing you want to look at is even futures this morning, which are lower. I think that's more a function of the markets being very overbought coming into this speech. Again, we've had one of the best Januaries, up 9%, as you mentioned before. Markets are very hot, very extended, even despite any of his comments. And so some profit-taking consolidation, I wouldn't be surprised by that.
Dan, what's it going to take? You talked about all this money on the sideline, right? The quarterback gets hurt, the other guy goes in. That's how you get off the sideline in sports. What's it going to take to get people off the sidelines in the market? Because apparently they've been sitting there for years.
Well, I don't know that they've been sitting there for years. I mean, Main Street has been heavily concentrated most recently in a lot of tech, internet, and FANG. And again, they've divested with this most recent correction. But, performance begets activity. And as the markets continue to grind higher, I think you're going to continue to pull more investors off the sidelines. Don't forget, we have 3 demographic cohorts that the market really needs to entice at this point. You have the baby boomer that has tremendous net worth at this point. You have Gen X behind them, and then you have the rise of the millennials, which are really, pouring into our workforce and starting to build their own net worth. And I think as the markets at this valuation, because remember, the markets really aren't expensive here at 16, 17 times. As the markets continue to grind higher off of economic expansion, you'll pull more of the Gen Xers, more of the millennials off the sidelines as they continue to build their net worth, but you'll also entice those boomers to come off the sidelines as well. So performance, I think that's ultimately what's going to do it. I don't think it's going to be what any standing president does over the next, few years or so.